6:30. His ministry will be going also. Is there any more announcements?
Yeah, I got the cookie spot today at 4 o'clock for all the women that want to come. I know it's gonna be cold, but we're gonna have hot chocolate, we're gonna have coffee, we're gonna eat cookies, we're gonna tell stories and all kinds of stuff. So if you wanna come, come. You got little ones, little tiny ones, Kenna's got some more stuff for them. She's gonna decorate some cookies with them. So we all gonna have fun.
When did you say it was?
4 o'clock
Today.
today.
Y'all remember that, come be to that. Don't me and our English stay home. Unless you can dress up like a woman.
Sorry.
Do the take pictures. Is there any more announcements?
So I'm gonna put a tumbler outside for everybody to start bringing stuff for families that we're having for Christmas.
Okay, what kind of stuff do you want to do?
Goods and stuff like that.
Okay, for the
And,
food park?
and as far as the ones that we're helping in the church is helping all of them. And so I'm responsible for buying for everything. So the church, we're just buying it. So y'all don't have to worry about nothing. I'll make sure that it's all done and took where it needs to go.
Thank you, Don.
You
That's
bet.
a big responsibility you
Thank
took on.
you. I appreciate that. But I'll enjoy doing it. I'm spending the church's money.
Alcohol. Things would be better if you had Black Friday and you had all weekend.
Scott, Jeanette said she'd help me. Scott said he's driving, so we set it up.
Any more announcements? Do we have any birthdays this morning? Not, it's time for, what's it called?
Congress and
day to be in the house of the Lord. I'm my brother Donald there. It was Friday and Saturday was two just dreary days. Oh, no, cold, raining. They got snow all in Atlanta and all down through there. It even snowed into Louisiana and Texas. And I heard them say on the Weather Channel that there was a place in Texas. It was the first time it had snowed there in December in 119 years. That was a big. And I didn't know I was supposed to do none of that. I just looked up, turned the Weather Channel on. It was snowing down there. And Clay's on his way home. They went duck hunting and wound up killing a 10-point buck. He walked by the blind and this bunch of rednecks from North Carolina jumped up out the duck blind and killed the deer. So, safe travels for them today. And Scott and Jeanette, Scott and Jeanette, we need to remember that family too. They're lost. Especially this time of year, it's hard when you lose a loved one. Around the holidays, anytime's a hard time to lose a loved one, but it seems like whenever you lose one around the holidays, when it rolls around, that's all you remember is that loss. But it is a good day to be in the house of the Lord. Last couple of Sundays, been preaching out of Isaiah, and just how Isaiah's prophecies and stuff come true and hold true to this very day. How that Isaiah got his strength from God, and then last Sunday where the Israelite people went out on a limb on their own and they awoke God's wrath and anger upon them because of the way they had been, but they had changed, and just the fact that us as humans being imperfect and of a sinful nature, whenever we put things into motion with our lives, yes, God will forgive us of that sin, but the things that we have set in motion, we still have to pay the consequences for that. And then today, I thought about this. Reading Isaiah chapter 42. I'll read the first verse there. But all my hunters here today, just the act of hunting, you're out searching and looking for something. Like me, you very rarely find it. But when you do, it's a good thing. I don't go hunting anticipating not to see something. I go hunting anticipating, hey, today's the day I'm going to kill a big buck today, or whatever animal I am pursuing. That's the way we should come to church. We should come hunting God, looking for a miracle, expecting His return. And I feel like today's churches and today's Christians have left the hunt. They got off the hunt anymore. Hunting, you're looking, you're searching, seeking to find something. We'll see how Isaiah and the people of his time, they were promised the Messiah. And he came. And now we should be seeking, searching, and expecting his return. I might sit there a half a day staring down a road, a loose high path, a hole in the swamp. You know, I'm looking for that animal to come at any moment. And the moment I turn my head or look down, he could have went right by and I never seen it. I took my eyes off the prize there. Church today we should be expecting Christ's return more and more each day. People 100 years ago, we done come 100 years farther in time as we know it, and we know that every day we live, every breath we breathe, we are closer to His return now more than ever.
Amen.
When the sun sets this evening, that's one less sunset before Christ returns.
See it.
That's how we should look at it. Today might be the day, the actual day that the Messiah returns for that second time to carry us home. Bro, do you look at it that way? Do you wake every morning and say, first thing, I wake and say, "Oi, I hurt, my back hurt." But you know, it ain't long before I start thinking about, hey, you know, today could be the day. Today might be the last day. I got to drag my tail out of this bed at 4 o'clock and get on down the road to where I'm going to work or whatever. But today might be the day, and we need to be hunting and seeking Christ's return, just like the Israelite people were searching and seeking all these years ago, and God promised, and it happened. So if we can see it and read it, why can't we believe it today? Why can't we believe that today could be just that day? Isaiah chapter 42. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, Jesus, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he has set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Speaking of Jesus, the one, my servant and mine elect, he was speaking of Jesus and his return, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. Lord, it was our only hope that they, whenever we came under the cross, the Gentile people, all the peoples of the land that weren't Jews, his chosen one, where we come under the blood, under the cross, and that hope of eternity with Christ forever. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street, in verse 2 here. I often wondered, there were so many in that time, the Pharisees. It says in different verses in the Bible where, you know, don't rip your clothes and holler from the corner as does the Pharisee. It was all a show. That's all the Pharisees were. They would get on the corner, they would rip their clothes and pray, and it was just a show. It wasn't the real thing. And I think that's why Jesus was so quiet and so humble. He didn't holler from the highest mount or from the street corner. He spoke in small groups. Then he could also speak to multitudes, but he was a simple man. In a simple way that he made it so that even a child could understand. But he spoke to these that wanted to hear, but they had to come, I think he left it in a way there that they had to come searching and seeking him. Instead of him going out and yelling from the high street corner there in the land and making a big show, he was just humble Jesus. He was just Jesus that showed love beyond measure. But it was still, there had to be an effort put forth. You know he knew the people's minds. You know he knew their hearts. The men that climbed up and let their buddy down through the ceiling. The woman that just wanted to touch the hem of his garment. They went seeking to be healed, a miracle, but they put forth effort there on their part. And it takes effort on each and every one of us' part for this thing to work. When we get saved, we go seeking Christ. And he comes into our heart. We're a changed person. What once was the norm is now not the norm. Our lives has changed forever. But we had to seek him in his word, come to his house and hear his word preached. It's not like, I've heard it put this way, when save them and see them. Okay, we saved this one, now we're going to put them in this seat, and that's where they're going to stay. No, it's a constant growing of a person once they become saved. It's a constant growing of a church that wants to do God's will. I read this, Johnny Hunt. Y'all know who Johnny Hunt is. He said that a church that's not producing new leaders is not growing. Producing new leaders is not growing. There should be a changing of the guard through the churches. Is what he's saying. This person that got saved, first they're going to become a person that is going to be loyal to the church. They're going to make a commitment to be here. And that's like their first baby step. And then they grow from there to being asked to say a prayer, being asked to take the offering up. Now they're a Sunday school teacher, or they're this, or they're that. It's a growth that a church needs to go through. Looking, searching, hunting to find Christ. In verse 5, thus saith God the Lord, He that created the heavens and stretched them out, He that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, He that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and the spirit to them that walk therein. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will uphold thine hand, and will help keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. Jesus was our light. To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in the darkness out of the prison house. And I'm sorry, friend, if you sitting here this morning and you still sitting in the darkness, if you come to church on Sunday morning and God has not real to you, something is wrong today.
Amen.
If you're not serving Christ today, if you're not living for Christ, guess what? You're living in the darkness. You're serving none other than Satan if you don't serve Christ today. If you are not serving Christ today, your future is not bright. No other way to put it. Christ loved us so much that He crawled upon a cross, allowed them to crucify Him when He could have called down 10,000 angels. Up here where it's talking about in verse 3, a bruised reed shall He not break, and the smoking flax shall He not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto the truth. That very thing they were talking about on the day of His crucifixion, how things were going to take place that day, how He was going to be broken, how the vinegar lifted up on the reed for him to relieve some pain there. But he took it not. But he took my pain that day. Can't I seek him? If you're saved today, I feel like that's what you want to do. I know that's what a saved person would want to do today, would be seek out his Lord. To change, to be assembled together in worship. That's what we should want. That's what we should reach for. We should be hunting the righteous path to heaven. Seeking. If we sit and wait, that's all we'll ever be, is a sinner. And not a doer. That's what the church needs, is doers. We need to be a church full of doers. We need to be on the hunt at all times for what we can do just to have a better life. You see, the church